How do some catchers make blocking look so easy, yet here you are crossing your fingers, hoping that your pitcher doesn't spike one in the dirt? As catchers, the worst feeling is letting a ball get past you, having to run to the backstop, and feeling the eyes of your team, coach, and everybody in the stands as they watch you go get the ball. Now, you may be a new catcher, and the fear of getting hit is what's holding you back. Or you may be a catcher with a couple years of experience under your belt, and up until now, you've just gotten away with picking the ball. No matter which guy you are, you know that in order to get to the next level of your career, you need to be able to block consistently. In this video, I'm going to give you the 3 biggest mistakes that I see young catchers make when they're learning to block so that you can avoid them in your own training, as well as 3 really good drills that you can use regardless if you're learning to block for the first time or want to refine your skills down the line. The first mistake that I see catchers making when they're learning how to block is starting too fast. So they'll immediately try to start blocking in a bullpen, in a game, or off of a machine throwing hard, without ever properly learning the fundamentals first. Think about when you first learned how to hit. Did you immediately step in the box off a pitcher throwing live? Or did you start off a tee and work through progressions to learn the fundamentals of your swing before you were game ready? The same concept applies with any skill that we learn on a baseball field. We must start with the fundamentals, get very good at the fundamentals before we can trust our ability to show up in a game. A really solid drill that you can begin working on today is our 2-knee down blocking drill. Now, this drill is very good for boiling down blocking into its simplest form. At the end of the day, all blocking really is allowing the ball to hit our belly button and keep it in front of us. Everything that we do before or after that point doesn't really matter as long as we get the job done. So with the 2-knee down blocking drill, we're simply going to isolate the ball hitting our belly button with light intensity so that we can get comfortable with it and then build on it with future drill progressions. In order to perform this drill, I'm going to be starting here on 2 knees. Of course, you want to go full gear. I'm not wearing a chest protector just for the sake of explanation. What's super important with any drill that we do is our starting position, right? With any drill we're working on, we have a specific feel, we have a specific cue, we have a specific outcome that we want. So our initial setup has to allow that to happen within the drill. So setting up here, both knees are down. I have the ability to kind of move side to side, which is going to be very important when I'm making those little micro adjustments that are going to allow me to get around a ball in the dirt and block it properly. That's all we're trying to isolate with this drill. So if you were to look at me from the side angle, what you'll notice is my toes are dug into the ground, my knees are dug into the ground. That's what gives me the ability to kind of sway side to side. Too many young catchers will roll their feet, and this limits their ability to move side to side. So we need to have firm connection with the ground that allows us to move. So once I'm in this athletic starting position, I can go ahead and look up at my partner or somebody who's feeding the machine. And essentially, I just want to start with my hand and my glove somewhere neutral in front of my body. There's no need to go overhead. There's no need to go out front. Somewhere neutral and comfortable will work just fine. Now, all I'm doing with this drill is at the instant the ball is bouncing in front of me, all I'm doing, cover the 5-hole, tuck the chin. Cover the 5-hole, tuck the chin, and we're just working to keep that ball in front of us, ideally trying to group the ball on the plate, somewhere where we can make a play on that ball if needed. Now, the intensity of this drill should be very light. If you're working off of a machine, go extremely slow. If you have a partner that's feeding you, just have them think to throw darts right in front of you, trying to be accurate with their bounce. And we're just trying to be as soft as possible with every single rep, trying to square that ball up with our belly button in order to deaden the bounce and keep that ball in front of us. Now, the second most common mistake that I see catchers making when they're learning how to block that contributes to their fear of blocking in a game is they don't know how to properly absorb a baseball, right? So what often happens is as that ball is making contact with them, they'll stiffen up. Sometimes you'll see them kind of pull their head away and everything gets tense. The more tense that we are when we're trying to absorb a baseball, the harder that ball is gonna ricochet off of us and the more that it's gonna hurt. So in order to take the pain away from blocking and to ensure that we're squaring it up as consistently as we can, we need to know how to absorb the force of the incoming pitch right? So that means working with the bounce and going with that momentum in order to deaden it and keep it in front of us. So in order to understand this feel and really understand what it means to work with the baseball, we can go to the next progression in our 2 knee down blocking series, which is our 2 knee down blocks with a glove slide. So essentially the setup for this drill is the exact same as our 2 knee down blocks. Knees are dug in, toes are dug in. I feel athletic in my base. Now, instead of me starting with my glove in this neutral position and working to isolate this movement, now we're gonna isolate the actual movement of absorbing the baseball. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my glove and my free hand out in front of me. For you new catchers, make sure that you're tucking your hand behind your glove in order to keep it out of the way of an incoming pitch. So I'm gonna get in my stance, I'm gonna preset my glove here, and I wanna feel athletic again, like I can move. If I feel stiff, gotta make some adjustments to the stance. Now I don't wanna be completely locked out because that is also stiff. I wanna be somewhere kind of neutral, and I wanna feel my shoulders are kind of caved in order to allow me to work back with that ball. So just presetting the glove out front, and then once I look up at my partner, that's how I'm gonna signify that I'm ready to perform the rep. So I'm presetting, I look up, and now in rhythm with the bounce of the ball, all I'm gonna be doing is sliding my glove along the dirt to cover the 5-hole while tucking my chin and just working to absorb this ball and just isolating this movement of covering the 5-hole and working the hands back with the bounce of the ball. Now this drill is to be done at a very light intensity. We can perform it out of multiple stances, and I wanna go very slow. I wanna feel controlled, and I wanna do a very good job of recognizing that pitch and being in sync with the bounce. Now, the third biggest mistake that I see young catchers making when they're learning how to block is they don't move with proper rhythm. Their timing is off. Essentially, they're not in sync with their pitcher, and they're not in sync with this incoming pitch. In order to consistently allow the ball to hit our belly button, in order to feel in sync with the ball and feel like we're properly able to absorb the force of that pitch, the rhythm in which we work into our blocking and the timing that we get to these different positions is extremely crucial. If you go too early, catchers have a tendency to get kind of stagnant and stuck, and that's when everything kind of tenses up and that ball doesn't go where you want it to. If you go too late, we're leaving area exposed for that ball to slip past us, or we're putting ourselves at risk of that ball skipping up while we're still in motion and obviously going somewhere outside of our belly button, which ultimately hurts and contributes to your fear of blocking. So in order to properly understand the rhythm of blocking, in order to understand how to get to the proper positions at the proper time, a great drill we can begin working on is our delayed 1, 2, 3 blocking progression. So in order to perform this drill, we're gonna be working from a traditional secondary stance. You can do this from a knee down stance, but if you're a guy who's just learning how to block, I recommend learning from the traditional secondary first and then progressing to knee down stances. So essentially all I'm gonna be doing with this drill, I'm gonna be getting set into my secondary stance. I want my butt to be about equal and even with my knees. So if I'm too low, I'm gonna have to come up in order to shift my weight. If I'm too high, I'm gonna have to crash into the ground in order to get myself there. So I wanna be somewhere about even with my knees. I wanna hold most of my weight through my heels, which is going to allow me to shift laterally. Once I find that position, all I'm gonna do is count out loud. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3. And on 3 is when my partner is either gonna feed the machine or go ahead and flip the ball. So while I'm working through these movements, I wanna think to work at about 50% speed, and I wanna think to maintain that pace through the entire block. Everything should be slow and controlled. And again, especially if you're a guy that's learning how to block for the first time, the intensity of these drills should be very minimal. I wanna go at a speed that I can handle consistently so that I can find these feels and eventually build on them down the line, trying to be as smooth and controlled with these movements as possible, and trying to make sure that my timing between all of my counts is consistent so that I can understand the timing that I need to work when I'm blocking in a game. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the tips and drills that I provided you with in this video. At the end of the day, if you're gonna get comfortable with blocking and allow it to just happen naturally on the field, you need two things. You need the right information, so you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then you need repetition. This knowledge of blocking is no good without the proper reps to solidify what we've learned. If you're serious about learning how to block, you need to be practicing every single day, right? You need to get as many reps as you can, because if you don't do it, this next guy's gonna do it and he's gonna get to play longer than you. That's just the truth. My goal on this channel is to provide you with the best catching information, the best drills that I know, that I've seen be successful in my own career, as well as the career of the catchers that I coach. I don't want to gatekeep anything. I want the kids that have that desire to learn and get better to be able to do it simply by watching these videos. With that being said, if you want to support me on my journey to provide the best catching information on the internet, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, if you want to take the guesswork out of your training, I have drills and programs that I've built out that will show you exactly what you need to work on every single day, so you don't have to piece together drills and information that you find from videos, and you can simply step into your training session knowing you have a very good plan to help you get to your goals. All of this is hosted inside of my school community. I have drills on blocking, receiving, throwing, and I'm constantly adding more resources to that program. It's less than the price of a gym membership, and you can get started right now. If you're a catcher that needs, maybe a little more hands-on feedback and would like to work with a coach, I have a one-on-one coaching program. The details for that are in the description of this video. And if none of that is interesting to you and you simply want to rep the culture or represent what we're doing here, we have merchandise that's live, just like this shirt that I'm wearing. So you can go ahead and pick up a t-shirt or a hat. And if you're balling on a budget and none of those work for you, simply leave a like on this video and leave a comment with what you struggle with as a developing catcher so that I can make videos on it and help you get better.